on everybody out in YouTube land, and welcome back to a new episode of GBA. In this video I wanted to talk about the most played games in my Sega Genesis collection. So yeah, I filmed a video about my PlayStation 1 most played games, and I really enjoyed that video, and I like talking about some of my favorite games that I own for that system, so I figured why not do one for the Sega Genesis. The Sega Genesis holds a pretty special place in my heart. It was the second console I ever owned. I did not get a Super Nintendo at launch. I got one much later. But I remember getting a Sega Genesis, I think it was in 1990, but I could be completely wrong. And before that, all I had ever really played was the Atari 2600, the Vectrex, the NES. So the Sega Genesis was a big leap as far as graphics and, different things like that. And I actually really enjoyed that system. I actually liked it a lot more than Super Nintendo for a very long time. Over the years, I have gained a lot more respect for the Super Nintendo, but I still have a fond place for a Sega Genesis in my heart. And, I played it when I was a young kid. I think I got it when I was like 8 years old, so, I played it for quite a while after that. And, Sonic the Hedgehog, the original, kind of changed my world. Because, before that, a lot of the platformers that I played had been moved a little bit more slow, and, there was a little bit more meticulous platforming in them, and Sonic the Hedgehog was a fast game, let's be honest. So I guess a little bit of backstory about, my, past with the Sega Genesis. So let's get into talking about the games. I don't want this video to go on too long, but these are the 10 most played games in my Sega Genesis collection. This is not a top 10 list. I'm not saying these games are my top 10 of all time. Some of these games, maybe a lot of them would be in my top 10 of all time, but this is just the games that I personally own that I play the most. So off the bat, let's get the cart-only games out of the way. So first up, and please pardon the condition of some of these games. I'm not always going for the perfect condition games out there, but the number one game that I'm going to show you guys is Castlevania Bloodlines on the Sega Genesis. There's really not a lot to say about this game that you guys probably don't already know about. The graphics in this game are phenomenal. The colors are great. The mood is fantastic. The music, it's a Castlevania game. You know what you're going to expect. There's a lot of really cool effects in this game that you wouldn't think that the Sega Genesis could pull off. But it's just a really fun action, platforming game pretty much. A lot of people might consider this one of the best, if not the best, Castlevania games out there. It's very close in my book. I love this game. But, there's so many good Castlevania games. It's really hard to pick. I really like Castlevania Dracula X, I think is what it's called. But this is a good one, and it's a fantastic game. If you guys don't have it or haven't played it, you definitely should. But yeah, there's not much more to say about Castlevania Bloodlines, but it's a great game. Very hard, so it does take a little bit of time to get used to, but once you do, it's not too bad. Alright, so next up, talk about hard. We have Contra Hardcore, or Hard Corpse, however you say that. So yeah, the Contra game for the Sega Genesis. This is a great game. It's got really good graphics. The gameplay is really fun. Controls are tight, but man, this game is so hard. It's almost brutally hard. Almost to the point where you just want to put the game down. But like Castlevania, if you keep on playing, you'll get better at it. This is another one of those action, side-scrolling games with some platforming mixed in. But if you like Contra, especially, the NES and Super Nintendo games, you should definitely check out Contra Hardcore if you have a Sega Genesis. Really fun action, platforming, side-scrolling game. So yeah, check it out if you guys haven't. Alright, so now moving on to probably one of the most iconic games on the Sega Genesis, we have Sonic 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So basically, this game took everything about Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and made it a whole lot better. This game added the spin dash, and that really opened up the gameplay. Also, the addition of Tails was really nice. But Sonic the Hedgehog 2, not going to spend a lot of time talking about because I'm sure you guys have played it, but this is definitely still one of the most played games in my collection. So check it out if you haven't. another side-scrolling platform game, action, fast, stuff like that. Next up, we have Jurassic Park on the Sega Genesis. So yeah, Jurassic Park was on just about everything back in the day, if not anything, everything. But, Jurassic Park on Sega Genesis, this is one of my favorite Jurassic Park games. I actually really like the Sega Master System game too, but that one's a little bit harder to come by because I think it only released in Europe. I could be wrong. But Jurassic Park on Sega Genesis is a lot different than the Super Nintendo version, and it's just a really good game. Another action side-scrolling game. The graphics are really, really cool in this game. It really reminds you of the movie. One of the cool features of this game is you can play as a raptor. So you can play as the human or the raptor, so that's really, really fun. But definitely fun. And if you guys haven't played this, you definitely should. It's way better than the Super Nintendo game. Alright, next up, we've got Golden Axe 2. So, the Golden Axe series, these are basically, old school side-scrolling beat-em-up games, pretty much. 2D beat-em-ups. Golden Axe is really, really good on the Sega Genesis, but I chose the second game, and this is a game I play a little bit more because I just feel like this game plays a little bit better than the original. This is a whole lot of the same. There's a lot of the same elements from the original game. It's a beat-em-up game. You have magic that you can use. You can pick from 3 different characters. But if you like classic beat-em-ups like I do, this is a good one to go back to and play. I really like the atmosphere of the game. And some of the, the enemies are really creative. It's just a really fun beat 'em up. So if you guys haven't played Golden Axe 2, you definitely should pick this up and try it out. Alright, so next up we have World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. So this series of games is really, really fun in general. What is it? Castle of Illusion on Master System, and I think it's Land of Illusion on the Game Gear, and then of course World of Illusion here on the Genesis. So much fun. These games are great. I love the art style of these games. I really like the animation of these games. I feel like the colors could pop a little bit more, but to be honest with you, the graphics are great. There's a lot of scrolling effects that are going on in this game that are really cool. A lot of images in the foreground and the background that keeps your eyes looking around. It's kind of like watching a Disney movie on your Sega Genesis while you're playing. This game is interesting because it is a 2-player game. So, you can play 2-player. 1 person Mickey Mouse, 1 person Donald Duck. There's a lot of really cool cameos from the universe in this game. The way you defeat enemies is a little bit different because you're using magic pretty much. So yeah, it's fun. I might like Castle of Illusion a little bit more, but this is still a good game, and it's one that I like to play on my Sega Genesis. So if you guys haven't, check this game out. Alright, so next up, a really fun game that does not get enough love. We have Tiny Toon Adventures Buster's Hidden Treasure. I'm sure you guys will notice a theme here. I'm not one to lie about it. I love platforming games. It's one of my favorite genres of games of all time. Maybe side-scrolling platforms is my favorite genre of games. So you're going to see a lot of side-scrolling action games or just platformers in general in this list. But Tiny Toon Adventures is definitely one to check out. This game has amazing graphics. The colors pop. This is just like watching a cartoon. This game is fast. It kind of almost reminds me of a Sonic the Hedgehog game once you get moving pretty fast because it's almost uncontrollably fast. This game also has an attack you can use when you're going super fast where you can do a sliding attack into enemies. The basic attack that you do obviously is kind of like Mario. You're jumping on enemies to kill them. But this has a lot of platforming in it. Has a lot of, side-scrolling action. But this game looks great. The music is fun. I mean, it's, basically like the cartoon pretty much. But it's just a very undervalued platformer on the Genesis. And I highly suggest you guys check this out if you haven't. And, it's pretty cheap too. So it can be had for a decent price. So yeah, Tiny Toon Adventures, Buster's Hidden Treasure. Check it out. Next up is a very early, well, I wouldn't say early release, but I think this game came out in 1991 if I remember correctly. But we've got Decap Attack on the Sega Genesis. So yeah, like some of the other games you're seeing here, this is a side-scrolling platform action game. But this one, the atmosphere really sets this apart from the rest of the games. This game has almost like a horror-themed, aesthetic to it. This would actually be a pretty fun game to play right now because we're in October, so we're getting pretty close to Halloween. But this game looks really, really cool. I like the atmosphere in this game. I love the enemies, the designs that they chose for them. It's interesting is a good word to put. I mean, you're basically missing your head, and your main attack is, I'm guessing it's like a face or a head that's inside of your chest that you can like projectile out to hit the enemies. But throughout the game, you can pick up a head. I don't know if it's your head, and you can actually throw that and it will come back to you, or you can go to it and it gets back on your torso. It's an interesting game. I highly suggest you guys play this if you haven't. It's pretty underrated, but like I said, music is good, the graphics are great for the time, and the atmosphere is fantastic. So if you guys haven't played Decap Attack, it's definitely one of the most played games in my Sega Genesis collection. Alright, so next up, a fantastic game. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Hyperstone Heist. So yeah, this came out basically because Turtles in Time wasn't coming out on the Sega Genesis. As you guys know, Turtles in Time is a great arcade game and a really good port to the Super Nintendo. But, The Hyperstone Heist is a fantastic game as well. This game has time-traveling elements. There's a lot of interesting enemies in it. It's just a really fun Turtles game. Some people say they like this one more than Turtles in Time. I actually like Turtles in Time a little bit more, but that could be for nostalgia purposes, because I didn't really play this game until, I was an adult. But this game holds its own. The graphics are really, really good in this game. Gameplay is really fun. Like I said, the time-traveling elements keep everything a little bit fresh. But yeah, this is a fantastic game. And since you can't play Turtles in Time on the Sega Genesis, this is definitely one that you guys should check out. And this is probably in my top 2 or 3 played Sega Genesis games. So yeah, check out Turtles in Time, The Hyperstone Heist. And then last but not least, not only the most played game in my Sega Genesis collection, this is my favorite Sega Genesis game in general. We have Elisa Dragon for the Sega Genesis. So yeah, this is a very, very fun game. It has a lot of like RPG elements. Sorry about that. It has a lot of RPG elements, but at its core, it's basically an action game. But this one is so much fun, and it's very in-depth, I guess you could say. So basically, one of the cool things about this game is you basically have like laser fire that you use to defeat enemies, and it's kind of like an auto-targeting type laser fire, which was really, really neat. There's a lot going on in this game. There's a lot of enemies coming at you from everywhere, but because your weapon is auto-targeting, it does make it a little bit easier. But you can't just hold down your laser fire because it will deplete, so you want to keep that as strong as possible. One of the other really interesting things about this is that you have basically companions that can come along with you. There's several that you can choose from on the fly. Let me see what they're called here. I can't really remember. So you've got the Dragonfly, I guess that's how you say that, Ball of Fire, Thunder Raver, and Boomerang Lizard. So yeah, depending on what companion you choose, you can do different types of attacks and stuff like that. But this is so much fun, and the graphics are great for an earlier Sega Genesis game. The music is absolutely fantastic, and the action is fast and fun. So if you guys haven't, check out Elisa Dragon on the Sega Genesis. And if you don't want to pay for the game, fire up an emulator and play it. There's no shame in that. But yeah, so Elisa Dragon, my favorite Sega Genesis game. So yeah, guys, like I said, those are the most played Sega Genesis games in my collection. Like I said, not necessarily a top 10 list, but there's definitely plenty of those that would be in my top 10 list. Let me know down in the comments what you guys play most on Sega Genesis. What's your favorite game for the Sega Genesis? I would love to have a little conversation with you guys about video games. But guys, I think I'm going to end the video. But until next time, I just want to say thank you so very much for watching this episode of GBA. If you haven't, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would help me out tremendously. If you guys know anybody who might like this kind of content, please share the video around. I'm always looking to grow the channel a little bit. And guys, I think I'm going to go play some Sega Genesis games, maybe open up some boxes, try to enjoy the rest of my evening. I hope you do too. So until next time, everyone, I'll see you later.